The rain fell against the windows where 30-year-old Emma Carter sat staring at an email. The subject line read, "Invitation to the Sterling Foundation Annual Gala." Her hand trembled. Inside was an invitation to Boston's most prestigious charity event, hosted by the Sterling family, the same family that had adopted her 20 years ago and made her life hell before she ran away at 16. The Sterlings had no idea who Dr. Emma Carter really was. She had changed her last name at 18 and built her career under a new identity. But now, holding this invitation, Emma realized fate had given her an opportunity for justice, for exposure, for making sure what happened to her never happened to another child. Emma's story began 25 years ago when her parents died in a house fire, leaving her orphaned. After 2 years in foster care, the Sterlings adopted her. Robert and Diana Sterling were one of Boston's wealthiest families, with a tech empire worth billions. They had 2 biological children, Olivia and Harrison. To the outside world, the Sterlings were philanthropists, pillars of society. But behind closed doors, they were monsters. They had adopted Emma as a publicity stunt to burnish their image. The adoption was featured in major newspapers with photos of the smiling Sterling family. Diana gave interviews about the importance of adoption. Perfect PR. But once the cameras were gone, the Sterlings' true nature revealed itself. Emma was treated as a servant, not a daughter. While Olivia and Harrison had enormous bedrooms, Emma got a tiny basement room. While the biological children ate gourmet meals, Emma ate leftovers with the staff. While they attended elite private schools, Emma went to a mediocre public school across town. Diana constantly reminded Emma she was charity, that she should be grateful. "You're nothing," Diana would say with contempt. Robert ignored Emma completely. Olivia and Harrison tormented her relentlessly, calling her the orphan, spreading rumors. No one believed her when she tried to tell teachers or her social worker. The Sterlings were too powerful, too respected. When her social worker visited, the Sterlings put on a perfect show. The breaking point came when Emma was 16. The Sterlings hosted a charity gala at their mansion. Olivia called Emma out in front of 200 guests, introduced her as our adopted charity case, and told a humiliating lie about Emma stealing food. The laughter, the looks of disgust, Diana's approving smile, it was too much. That night, Emma packed a backpack and ran away. She was 16, with no money and nowhere to go, but anything was better than staying. The next 4 years were brutal. Emma lived in shelters, worked odd jobs, but finished high school through sheer determination. She saved every penny, applied for scholarships, and got accepted to Boston University with full financial aid. College was her salvation. She majored in psychology, fascinated by childhood trauma. She graduated summa cum laude, got her doctorate from Harvard, and became an expert in foster care systems. At 27, Dr. Emma Carter published Silent Voices: The Hidden Abuse in Wealthy Adoptive Families. The book became a bestseller and sparked national conversations about adoption oversight. Emma founded the Rising Phoenix Foundation, providing therapy and legal support to foster children and abuse survivors. She had been careful to keep her own story private, never mentioning the Sterling name. She was building a platform, credibility, power. Now, staring at the invitation, Emma understood the time had come. She accepted and spent 6 weeks preparing meticulously. She hired a private investigator who discovered the Sterlings had adopted 2 more children who had both left under mysterious circumstances. Emma reached out to them, Nathan, 24, and Sophie, 21. Both had stories echoing her own. Nathan agreed to help. Sophie gave permission to share her story anonymously. Emma contacted her former social worker, now retired, who admitted she had suspected something but was pressured not to investigate. The Sterlings had donated generously to the agency. Emma recorded the conversation. She reached out to former Sterling household staff whose NDAs had expired. They agreed to speak on the record about what they had witnessed. Emma compiled everything: testimony, documents, photographs, recordings, into a comprehensive dossier. She shared it with journalist Michael Torres from the Boston Globe. He was horrified and began his own investigation. The plan was simple. Emma would attend the gala, confront the Sterlings publicly, and the next morning, Michael's exposé would publish with irrefutable evidence. The night of the gala arrived. Emma wore an elegant navy gown, her hair styled professionally. She looked like she belonged in the Sterling's world, but inside she was still that frightened child. The Sterling mansion looked exactly as she remembered: imposing, elegant, intimidating. The foyer where she had once scrubbed floors was filled with Boston's elite. Emma moved through the crowd, observing. Diana Sterling held court near the fireplace, her posture rigid with superiority. Robert stood near the bar, radiating arrogance. Olivia and Harrison were there too. None of them recognized her. Emma waited, letting the evening progress. She listened to Diana give a speech about helping children in need, about how adoption had enriched their family. The hypocrisy was staggering. When Diana finished to enthusiastic applause, Emma made her move. She walked to the stage and said loudly, "Mrs. Sterling, I don't know if you remember me. My name is Emma Carter, though you knew me as Emma Sterling, your adopted daughter." The effect was instantaneous. Diana's face went pale. Robert turned sharply. Olivia and Harrison stared with shock and fear. The conversations died away. "I think you're mistaken," Diana said, voice tight. "We did adopt a girl named Emma, who ran away at 16. We searched but never found her. It was a terrible tragedy." "A tragedy." Emma's voice was calm and clear. "I call it survival. I ran away because living on the streets was preferable to spending one more day being treated like a servant, being humiliated and abused by your family." The crowd was silent. "That's false," Diana said. "We treated Emma like our own daughter. We gave her everything. You gave me a basement room, leftover food, secondhand clothes. You gave me the privilege of being your PR prop while treating me like I was worthless. You gave me trauma that took years of therapy to process." Robert stepped forward. "I think you should leave. Security." "I'm not going anywhere," Emma said firmly. "Not until everyone knows the truth. You adopt children not to help them, but to use them. And when they're no longer useful, you discard them. You can't prove any of this," Olivia hissed. Emma pulled out her phone and connected it to the sound system. She had paid an AV technician for access. "Actually, I can. I've spent 6 weeks gathering evidence. Testimony from former staff, statements from Nathan Chen and Sophie Rodriguez, the 2 children you adopted after me. Records showing all 4 adopted children left under suspicious circumstances." She pressed play. Nathan's voice filled the room describing his years with the Sterlings, the neglect and abuse. Then Sophie's voice, shaking but determined. Then a former housekeeper describing what she had witnessed. The guests stood frozen. Emma showed photographs, her tiny basement room, documents showing different schools for biological versus adopted children, financial records showing the Sterlings claimed tax deductions while spending minimal amounts on adopted children's care, emails between Diana and Olivia mocking the adopted children. The evidence was overwhelming. The crowd's expression shifted from curiosity to shock to disgust. Donors pulled out phones to cancel pledges. Board members distanced themselves. "Tomorrow morning," Emma said, "the Boston Globe will publish a comprehensive investigation. Everything I've shown you tonight will be public record. Your foundation will be investigated. Your adoption licenses revoked. And most importantly, you will never hurt another child the way you hurt me, Nathan, Sophie, and the others." Diana lunged forward, composure shattering. "You ungrateful bitch. We saved you. We gave you a home. And this is how you repay us?" "You didn't save me," Emma said quietly. "You almost destroyed me. But I survived. I built a life helping children like I was. And now I'm using everything I've built to make sure you can never do this again." Robert grabbed Diana's arm. His face was ashen. Their reputation was destroyed. "Why?" Olivia asked. "Why are you doing this? It was so long ago." Emma looked at Olivia. "Because moving on isn't the same as letting go of accountability. Because what you did was wrong. And because if I don't speak up, you'll do it again. The world deserves to know who you are." She turned to the crowd. "I'm Dr. Emma Carter, child psychologist and founder of the Rising Phoenix Foundation. I wrote Silent Voices about hidden abuse in affluent adoptive families based on my own experience in this house. I'm sharing my story publicly because silence protects abusers. Because every child deserves dignity and love, not to be treated as a servant or charity case. The applause started slowly, then grew until half the room was clapping. Security escorted her out gently, respectfully. Several guests followed, expressing support and pledging donations. Emma stood on the mansion steps surrounded by people who believed her, and felt something inside finally release. The fear, the shame, the powerlessness that had haunted her for 20 years, gone. The next morning, Michael's article appeared on the front page. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The Sterling Foundation's board removed Robert and Diana from all leadership positions. Major donors withdrew support. The state launched an investigation. Within a week, the Sterlings had resigned from all public positions and retreated from public life, but the impact went beyond their downfall. Emma's story sparked a national conversation about adoption practices. Legislators introduced bills to strengthen regulations. Other survivors came forward, creating a movement demanding accountability and reform. Emma's foundation saw a massive increase in donations. She expanded programs and opened new offices. Nathan joined as a program director. Sophie became an advocate for mental health services. Years passed. Emma continued her work, helping thousands. She wrote more books, gave speeches, testified before Congress. She also built a personal life. She met James, a teacher who understood trauma. They married and adopted a daughter from foster care, an 8-year-old girl named Lily. Adopting Lily was terrifying, but Emma was determined to give her everything she herself had never had: unconditional love, security, respect. Lily thrived, going from withdrawn to confident and happy. Watching her daughter flourish was Emma's greatest joy and deepest healing. Emma thought about revenge versus justice. What she had done to the Sterlings was both, but primarily justice. She had exposed them not just to hurt them, but to protect other children, to spark reform, to use her pain as catalyst for change. The Sterlings had tried to break her, to make her believe she was worthless, but she had survived and thrived. She had taken everything they tried to destroy and used it to build something meaningful. She had turned her pain into purpose. That was the best revenge, not their downfall, but her own success, her own happiness, her own family built on love rather than cruelty. Every day with James and Lily, every child she helped, all proof that the Sterlings had failed. Emma Carter, the unwanted adopted daughter who had been humiliated and discarded, had returned. Not as a victim seeking vengeance, but as a powerful woman demanding justice. And in doing so, she had changed not just her own life, but the lives of thousands of children. The Sterlings faded into obscurity, but Emma's legacy was just beginning, a legacy of resilience, advocacy, and turning pain into purpose. She had come back, and she had won. If you love stories where the truth is revealed, you've found your channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications to make sure you're always up to date with life's biggest secrets and dramas. And now, I want to hear from you. What life lesson did you learn from this story? Share your reflection in the comments and use the hashtag #TruthRevealed, also telling us the city you watched this drama from.